Hello everyone, welcome to the first video lecture. So today we'll be dealing with our first unit of class 8 science, that is measurement. So in this video lecture we'll be learning about what is measurement, SI units and more about temperature. So this particular chapter we are studying under physics. Okay, so why actually we should study measurement in science or in physics especially? So we all know that physics is the study of nature and the natural phenomena. Okay, whenever we study something we carry out some experimentations, right? So we do experiments, we do observations. Okay, so physics is based on the experimental observations. Whenever we carry out experiments we do measurements. Like experiments require measurements and we measure several physical properties like length, mass, time, temperature, pressure, etc. So that's why it is very important to know how to carry out measurement, what actually this measurement is, what are the requirements for carrying out the perfect measurement. So that's why we study this measurement chapter in science and especially in physics. Okay, so now what is this measurement? So to learn about what is this measurement, let us carry out one small activity by using the things which are available next to you. Okay, so for that I want you to take one textbook. Let it be your science textbook. Okay, or any science book which is lying next to you, and then take a ruler, scale, and using that scale measure the length of your textbook and note it down in your notebook. Okay, I hope you have measured it, and even I have also measured, and I have got some values. For example, let us take, I have got it as 15 centimeter, you might have got it as 20 centimeters, some of you might have got it as 19.5 centimeter, whatever it is. So one number we have got it, right? So let us take an example as 15 centimeter. Okay, if you see the screen have mentioned some of the things in different colors, right? That is ruler and then length and the 15 centimeter. They are given in different colors. See, whenever we carry out measurement, whenever we do this process, these four things are very much important. We have to mainly focus on them. Why? What are they actually? The first thing which we have measured, what we have measured? We have measured the length of the textbook. That length which we have measured is the physical quantity. The length is the physical quantity which we have measured. The next one is, for measuring this, what we have taken? We have used a ruler. So that ruler is an instrument to measure the physical quantity, that is length. Okay, then after measuring we have got the measurement in terms of some numbers, that is 15. Okay, that number, the numerical value, is nothing but the magnitude of the measurement. Okay, then something is there, centimeter, cm, it is written as cm, that is centimeter. That is the unit of a measurement. So length is the physical quantity, ruler is the instrument used for measuring the physical quantity, 15 is the magnitude of the measured physical quantity, and centimeter is the unit of that measurement. The whole process which we carried out now is called as measurement. I hope you understood what measurement is and the important points of this activity. Okay, so when we did this activity, we have measured the length of the textbook using a standard scale, like be it your 15 centimeter scale or a 30 centimeter scale or a 1 meter scale, right? So we have used a fixed scale, a standard scale. We did not go pick up a stick and we measured it using that. No, we did it with the help of a standard scale. So a perfect measurement requires some basic things. So what are the requirement for the perfect measurement? So the first thing we require is an instrument. We should have a standard instrument to carry out the perfect measurement. Then we require a standard quantity. We can measure only the standard quantity. Okay, the standard quantity are nothing but the properties that can be measured and described in terms of numbers. Then we should have an acceptable unit. So acceptable units are nothing but the standards used for measuring the physical quantities. Okay, for example, your meter, foot, inch, grams, kilograms, minutes, seconds, and hours. More about this units we'll be learning next. Okay, so what is it? System of units. Okay, so uh, previously, even today in some of the countries, people use different systems of units. Like we measure the mass in terms of kgs or grams, but if you go to some of the countries, that is British countries, they measure it in terms of pounds, whether you know or not. Even in India, if you see, some of the length are told in terms of meters. Some of the measurements lengths will be talked in terms of foot. Like if you take an example, height of a person, they'll be telling it in terms of centimeters, right? Or in terms of foot, or in terms of inches also sometimes, right? So there are different variety of units we use in different places. So there are several systems of units. So basically we'll be learning about fps and then mks and cgs systems. So what is this fps system? F stands for foot, p stands for pound, s stands for second, where foot is used for measuring length, pound is used for measuring mass, second is used for time. Then another kind of system is CGS system, where C stands for centimeter, G stands for grams, and S stands for seconds. Where C is centimeter is used for measuring the length, grams for mass, and second for time. Then we have another kind of system, that is MKS system, where M stands for meter for measuring length, and K stands for kilogram for measuring mass, and then S stands for second for measuring time. So these were the different types of system of units which were used, and even today some of the places we use it. But after some time, when the communications started between different countries, and when scientists thought that it is very difficult when we travel from one place to another place, and it is very hard to understand the concepts and carry out the scientific research, because every time we go to another country we have to follow the different system of unit. So they thought that we should have one uniform system of units, so that everybody can use it and everybody can do the scientific research in one using one particular system of unit. So for that matter, people have come up with one system of unit which is called as international system of units, and in short form it is called as SI units, and it was formulated in 1960. Okay, so we'll be learning more about this SI unit in further video. So SI base units, when they were formulating this international system of units, scientists developed that there are seven basic quantities. Okay, there are seven physical quantities which are actually basic, and they named it as base quantities. Okay. So those quantities will have some standard units, right? Those standard units are called as fundamental units or the base units. So What are they? They are nothing but length, mass, time, temperature, electric current, amount of substance, and luminous intensity. They are the seven basic quantities, and their standard units are given in the next column, that is meter, kilogram, second, Kelvin, ampere, mole, and candela, and their symbols are also given. If you notice, the SI unit of temperature, that is Kelvin, its symbol is capital letter K, and the SI unit of electric current is ampere, and its symbol is capital letter A. All other symbols are given in small letters, only these two are given in capital letters. Why it is so? Okay, because Kelvin and ampere, they are the names of two different scientists. Okay, so whenever we write SI unit as name of the scientist as SI units, we will be writing in symbolic form the capital letters, and in the full form, whenever we write, we will start with the small letter. Like we have started Kelvin with a small letter K, but when it is coming into symbolic form, it is capital letter K. Ampere also, when we are writing in full form, the A is small letter A, but when it is written in symbolic form, it is capital letter A. So these are the minute things you should be focusing on. So I have taken this tabular column from your textbook. More about this you can have a look from your textbook. Moving on. Okay, so till today you have learnt about three basic units, basic quantities. They are length, mass, and time, right? In the previous classes you have learned that. So in this class specially we will be learning about temperature, more about temperature. So when in our day-to-day life we come across with some of the cold items like ice cubes, ice creams, and some of the hot items like iron box and fire. So among the first two, that is ice cream and the ice cube, how can you say that which is more colder? Or among these two, that is iron box and the fire, which one will be more hotter? So how can we decide that? Okay, so for that we should have one particular physical quantity, that is we should take the help of one physical quantity which will tell us which has got more degree of hotness in it. Okay, so such a quantity was then named as temperature. Okay. So what is this temperature? It's actually a physical quantity which will tell about the degree of hotness or coldness of a substance. Okay, so how actually we define it? This is how we actually understand what temperature is. Scientifically, when we go for defining temperature, it is defined as the measure of the kinetic energy of the particle of the system. Okay, the first one is for understanding, the second sentence is for the second sentence is how actually we define the term temperature scientifically. Okay, so whenever we supply some heat to an object, the temperature of that object will increase. Whenever we remove the heat from an object, its temperature will decrease. Okay, then little more about this temperature when we learn. So we already studied the SI unit of temperature is Kelvin. Symbolically it is written as capital letter K. And then the instrument which is used for measuring the temperature is thermometer. And then other units other than the SI unit Kelvin, we have other units for measuring temperature, that is Celsius and Fahrenheit, degree Celsius and degree Fahrenheit. So the instrument which is used is nothing but the thermometer. They will be calibrated in different scales. Some of the thermometers will use Kelvin as their unit, some of them will use Celsius as their unit, some of the thermometers will be used in terms of Fahrenheit scales. Okay, there are actually three different scales available, that is Kelvin, Celsius, and Fahrenheit scales. So more about this we'll learn now. So that about thermometer. So in a given thermometer, you can see there will be two things. One is lower fixed point and an upper fixed point. So usually the lower fixed point will be equal to 0 degrees Celsius and upper fixed point will be equal to 100 degrees Celsius. Okay. So the 0 degrees Celsius is nothing but the melting point of the pure ice, and 100 degrees Celsius is the boiling point of pure water. And our body temperature, that is the human body temperature, is in between 98.4 degree Fahrenheit to 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. And there is a picture of thermometer which you can go through. So this is how the thermometer look like. Nowadays you can even see there are digital thermometers available. Okay, so this is one small picture of a basic thermometer, how actually it looks like. Okay, so I said there will be three different scales, that is Celsius, Fahrenheit and Kelvin scales. Okay, so how actually we convert from one scale to another scale? If I am given with a temperature value in terms of Celsius scale, okay, I have to convert and tell it in terms of Kelvin scale. How actually we do that? What is the relation between this Celsius, Fahrenheit and Kelvin scale? Okay, so that will be found using one small basic formula, that is C minus 0 divided by 100, which is equal to F minus 32 upon 180, which is equal to K minus 273 upon 100. Okay, here the C stands for Celsius and F stands for Fahrenheit and K stands for Kelvin. Using this small basic formula, we can easily convert the given quantity in other two scales. So below, if you see, there are three different thermometers given, which are they are calibrated in three different scales, that is Kelvin scale, Celsius scale and the Fahrenheit scale. So the lower point and the upper point in the case of Kelvin scale is 273 Kelvin to 373 Kelvin. And in the case of Celsius scale, it is 0 degree Celsius to 100 degree Celsius. And in the case of Fahrenheit scale, it is 32 degree Fahrenheit to 212 degree Fahrenheit. So if you see the formula above, the Celsius scale and the Kelvin scale, the Kelvin and the Celsius scale, they are divided by 100. The case of Fahrenheit, it is divided by 180. Why it is so? It lies in the calibration of the thermometers. If you see, in the case of Kelvin scale and the Celsius scale, there will be 100 divisions. Okay, 100 divisions. But in the case of Fahrenheit scale, there will be 180 divisions. Between the upper point and the lower point, there will be 180 divisions. That's why it is divided by 180 and the other two are divided by 100. Okay, so that's about the conversion of scales of temperature. So why actually we should have this different scales of temperature? We can have even one, right? Why actually we are having three different scales of temperature? So why? Because see, we have meter as a standard scale, like our SI unit for measuring length. But every time we cannot go for telling all the lengths in terms of meter. If it is a distance between two cities, if we talk about in terms of meters, it will be a very huge number. So that's why we go for kilometer. Or if you take the thickness of the paper, we cannot tell it in we can tell it in terms of meter, but it looks a bit uneasy or difficult. It is not so simple. So if you talk about in terms of millimeter, so it becomes easier to understand. So that's why depending upon the usage, depending upon the situation, we use different scales. So similarly, in the case of temperature, depending upon the situation, we use different scales of temperature. So where actually we use, let us see now. So the physicians actually use the clinical thermometers, right? In clinics, the doctors or the nurse, they use the clinical thermometers, and it will be graduated in Fahrenheit scale. That is the body temperature what they measure, it will be in terms of degree Fahrenheit, not in degree Celsius or in kelvins. That's why when I said the temperature, the human body temperature, it was in terms of degree Fahrenheit if you observed carefully. Okay, the next one is scientists are using thermometers with Kelvin scale. Okay, then the common temperature measurements are made in terms of Celsius scales, that is weather telecast. If you see today's temperature is 27 degrees Celsius or 31 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Celsius, so that particular measurement will be done using a thermometer which is calibrated in Celsius scale. Okay, so these are the some basic applications of thermometers in different thermometric scales. More applications are also available if you go through some good textbooks, and then internet, you will come up with answers. So I hope you will do that research and come up with more applications of various thermometric scales. Okay, then we studied some conversion, right? So let us carry out how actually the calculations will be, numericals will be coming in this conversion case. So it will be like convert 80 degrees Celsius to Kelvin. So you are given in terms of Celsius scale, you have to convert that value into Kelvin scale. So we will be using the same basic formula which was given before, that is K is equal to C plus 273, where K stands for Kelvin value, C stands for Celsius value. Here the Celsius value is 80, so instead of C we will be writing it as 80. So in terms of Kelvin scale we will obtain it as 353 Kelvin. Okay. Next one is the reverse process, that is conversion from Kelvin scale to the Celsius scale. Is convert 300 Kelvin into Celsius. Okay, so now you are given with Kelvin value, you have to find out the Celsius value of it. Same formula we can use with some rearrangement. So it is C is equal to K minus 273. The above equation is just rearranged. Okay, so instead of K we will be writing as 300. Therefore Celsius value will be 27 degree Celsius. I hope you understood this. Okay, till now we have studied what actually the measurement is, what are the requirements for carrying out the perfect measurement, and then we studied about SI units, and then more about temperature, thermometer, three different scales of thermometer, and two small numericals where we converted from Celsius to Kelvin and Kelvin to Celsius. I hope you understood, you followed this and understood the concepts which are taught in this video. So after going through this video, I want you to go through your textbook, have a look of your textbook, and then answer these 11 questions. This is your assignment for the day.